We are at the Wright Museum to get a tour of the Victory Garden. Okay. Welcome to the Nosy Gardener channel, and today we are here at the Wright Museum at the Victory Garden. And let me introduce you to Chrisy Kaiser, Master Gardener and creator of the Victory Garden. Justin, your last name?
Gamache.
Gamache. He's the curator here at the Wright Museum. And Terry,
I'm the helper.
The helper, great.
Very good helper.
Very important helper. So first Justin's gonna talk a little bit about the museum. Chrissy's gonna talk a little bit about the garden. Then we're gonna walk into the garden for more details. So take it away.
All right. Well, here at the Wright Museum, we are a museum of World War II, but we're really not just about the military side of things, but about what life was like in America on the home front during the World War II years. So we have kind of a unique collection. We do have some of the military vehicles and equipment, but we also have a lot of American culture and items from the home front and things that are related to pop culture and really kind of what the whole American experience was like, what people were living like on a day-to-day basis during the World War II years.
I can attest to that because inside they have vignettes of different lifestyles inside, which is very interesting.
Yeah, we have our home front gallery where we have some of the vignettes. We have a full-size soda fountain and a living room scene, a gas station, a 5 and 10 cent store,
great.
All kinds of things like that. And then we have our time tunnel, which a lot of people say is their favorite part of the museum. And that's each one of the war years, 1939 to 1945, has its own room. And you'll hear the songs that came out in that year and see maps of what was going on in the war. So it's really kind of the total experience of the war years.
That's great. Thank you.
And we also have a wonderful library with cookbooks to cook everything that we're growing here.
Oh, excellent.
So
excellent. Very good. Thank you for that tip.
Yep. So,
okay.
The Victory Garden. Everybody had a Victory Garden, but it didn't start with World War II. It actually started in England in World War I and then carried across here. So I got involved back in 2012, 2013. Mike Culver was then our director, and I said, Mike, you need a Victory Garden. He said, well, if you can find a place to put it, because the Victory Garden used to be over there where the equipment shed is.
Oh, right. Okay.
And they gave it up. So they donated this, and everything we have here has been donated up until the last couple of years. We literally have only spent about $150 up until 2 years ago of the museum's funds. Everything has been donated by local businesses and local people. So I'm really, really thrilled about it. So everybody says, why a Victory Garden? You know, we don't need one now. We're not at war or anything. But you do need a Victory Garden in your home, because every single thing you can put in your mouth that's better comes out of your own garden. We've depleted our soils across the country, and we can have our own gardens at home. So I just assume get into the garden and show you what's going on.
That's great. And it's a very small area, relatively small area.
It's about 24 by 48. Yeah, and raised beds because I'm a woman of a certain age and I don't want to be down here all the time. So I can sit over here and I can be working on my produce. Okay.
That's great.
That's another thing that's good about it.
And, you know, then you don't have to dig in, because in New Hampshire you have a lot of rocks and all kinds of things like that, and you can just start on top.
In fact, we have ledge over here. And what I've done to keep the deer out are put these conduits in. We've got sockets of 3/4 inch conduit, and then I put the 10-foot ones in, and then the deer netting zip tied. I've actually showed up here early in the morning about 8 years ago, and I found a moose with his nose up against here, because there's a moose path down to the river.
So you found this is very effective.
Very, very effective, because four-legged creatures don't want to get tangled up. So over here we have ledge. It was really hard to put the deer netting in. So I'm hoping to get a grant so we can put a wall in here and have sockets and also help the raised beds, because eventually the pine does rot out.
Right.
So there we are.
So when the people come to the museum, can they just walk up here on their own?
They can walk up. They cannot come into the garden.
Okay.
Because unfortunately people can destroy things by tasting and all that.
Picking
or get hurt.
Samples.
Or get hurt, and we don't want that liability.
Okay, so they can look at
They
it
can look at it. That's why we have.
And there's some signage and a nice bench.
There's wonderful signage here. And in fact, one of the signs will talk about the Japanese internment and Victory Gardens. And I have always, and we're going to plant today some bok choy, always have one bed dedicated to our American citizens who were interred during the war.
Okay.
And what we have is mostly demonstration. Not a lot of produce coming out of here, but I do try to have at least 2 or 3 crops for the food pantry. they've got their own garden,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to try and have crops that they don't always get from the state. The green beans would be one of those. We have some garlic at the back we're going to harvest today, and those will go to the pantry, and they'll fight over that.
Oh, right. I bet.
And then we have 49 feet of potatoes.
Wow.
And as we walk through, you're going to see we have a problem with our potatoes.
Okay.
We've got a vole who's nibbling about that much of our potato stalk.
Okay.
And hopefully he'll get filled and he'll go away because we want to harvest that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a tour in the garden for more detail.
Okay. Welcome to the garden. Coming in, you're going to see our, quote, native soil, which was donated back in 2014 by Joe Balboni of All Earth. He's since passed away. But I didn't enrich this bed because herbs don't want a rich bed. You don't want a lot of top growth. You want to have everything very tight and all the essences there. You did a wonderful talk with Dina.
Oh, yes.
And she talked about don't water your
lavender.
your
Yes,
lavender.
I didn't realize that.
So herbs grew up in a Mediterranean climate, which is rocky, dry, and so I didn't improve this soil. But I really should have a bit because nothing's growing very well. However, I do have my great-grandmother's walking Egyptian onions.
I see that, yes.
And they are perennial, and they've been here for about 8 years.
And the lavender, do you have good luck with that overwintering?
I do, overwintering. Okay. This is all new. The herbs are all new this year because everything was kind of skanky, and I just pulled it out and replanted. We've got some of the sweet herb, the stevia, which I like to use. And then, for whatever reason, the parsley just didn't flourish this year. And it could be that the soil is just a bit too depleted.
Mine didn't either, so I don't think I'm glad to see I'm not alone.
You're not alone. So then we have our green beans, and we planted these back on the 21st of June. These are the gold.
Oh, that's good.
The goldenrod.
So you tag them with the wooden...
Yeah, they're paint sticks.
Paint sticks,
and then
excellent.
They're the Blue Lake bush beans. And you can see from the flowers and the baby beans that they are really happy here.
Oh, very nice.
And we did enrich the soil. When we planted them, we put in a bag of rotted manure, cow manure from Vermont. And then recently we've just top dressed with the organic raised bed mix from Coast of Maine. And that was partially donated by Bradley's Hardware recently. And we thank Alex very much for that because that will make all the difference. I've been offered all sorts of soils and manures and things. And in the past, we have had wonderful composted cow manure from Frederickson's Top of the Hill farm. But the problem with cow manure, particularly when it's in a substrate of sawdust, is you get a moist day, and the fungus that grows there is collectively called dog vomit. And it's just ugly as sin. And customers walking through think we've got some horrible disease.
Okay.
So I couldn't use that again. And then I went and looked at a couple of horse farms. 2 reasons I wouldn't use the horse manure is one, some people feed a through wormer to keep to keep worms away, and also to keep fly larvae down. If you've got something, a poison going through the horse's stomach, it's still going to be in the manure. Okay. So you don't want to be having an insecticide or something like that in your soil.
So a question for the home gardener: how many bags of this did you use in this bed?
Well, there are 48 to, I think we used 3. Terry, was it 3 bags or 4 bags per?
I think 4.
I think 4, and then we'll put another 4 in. Because we had plants here, we couldn't fill it all the way up. You don't want to suffocate them. So 4 bags to top off. That probably gave us 3 or 4 inches.
Okay.
Yeah. There's 2 cubic feet per bag.
Right. Okay. That seems doable.
Yep. And then there'll be, again, another batch. We only did 3 tomatoes this year because I wanted them to grow nicely and to not be shading each other, or to get too dense, and then you get the viruses starting. So today I'm going to be trimming some of these and lifting these guys up, but I try to trim off down at the base anything that's not productive, and that's why I need a clipper. So I'll just use a pair of scissors, and you just go down and take anything that's not productive off. And you want to compost these away from the plants. And you can also clip off some of these rambunctious fellows. so you have more air.
More
You want
air.
more air coming through. So that's that.
Do you
And
try to use more period materials like the wooden stakes
yes,
instead of?
I would love to be able to use the new cages,
Okay.
but they didn't have those in 1940. Now they did have this wire, which is concrete reinforcing wire. And because I've got other things going on in my life, I just have not gotten around to building those make-it-yourself cages. Next year we'll have those.
Right.
So that's that. We're going to be pulling the snap pod peas because they have gone past, and they are delicious. You can eat the whole thing.
Oh wow. No, thank you.
You're wonderful.
See, that was good to have you do it on camera.
Yeah, they're just super.
And look at that beautiful eggplant.
The eggplant, because there's only going to be 1 or 2 of them, will not go to the pantry because there won't be a way of sharing that many.
Right. Okay.
I've probably got a Justin or somebody in the museum who likes to cook with eggplant.
Now, so when the beans go by, will you put something else there?
Yes, we're going to put Blue Lake pole beans.
Oh, pole
We
beans,
did
nice.
pole beans last year, and they just flourished right up over.
And it's August 6th today.
It is August 6th, and this is a I think they're 50 or 60. They're 50 days.
Wow, okay.
So that'll be just the beginning of October. If we don't have an early frost, we will have beans when nobody else does.
And when you plant that now, will that still go over that whole thing?
Absolutely.
Really?
Just cover it.
Wow.
Yep. These will just, because it's warm right now, they'll bounce right over.
Okay.
I had started and lost at home a few extra summer squash. So I just popped them in and see if we can get a catch crop. This is a what they call fool me. It's actually a jalapeno pepper without a lot of spice to it. And
it looks like it, but it's not as hot.
We will let it go red, and then again somebody at the front desk will get it, or Terry and I will take one home a piece. We had a problem with our zucchini. This zucchini has been in here for ages. We now have
when you mean ages, you just mean for the season.
For the season.
Right.
We probably planted this back in early May, and it just hasn't done anything. In fact, it's flowered beautifully, and then all the flowers fall off. So I talked to the seabirds down at the farmer's market. They're wonderful folks who sold me all of the plants because I didn't have time to start them this year. And they said they've heard people having problems. They have not had problems. And they thought maybe because we don't have as many bees or the pollinators haven't been getting out here. It's just really weird that since I put these 3 little guys in, I've gotten some veggies. And it may also be because I gave a little fertilizer 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And see, yeah, you have a little zucchini in there.
Yeah, they are a heavy feeder. So when we planted them with a lot of rotted cow manure, bagged cow manure. Then we have the pickling cucumbers. And they're probably going to get picked. Those will get picked today because we've got plenty to show and tell. If we have enough, they'll go to the pantry, but they may or may not provide 6 servings. That's my cutoff. If I can't provide 6 servings, they just get donated elsewhere. And this is the bed we're going to plant with bok choy and the leftover cabbage and some celery. Now this is root bound because it was purchased early this spring, and it may or may not survive. But what you do with a root bound plant is you tease out the roots. The minute you start doing this, it excites the plant to say, wait, I gotta grow, I gotta produce something for next year. And they'll start growing better. So that will be how we do that. And of course, we can also put a little paper sleeve over it and plant it a bit deeper.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. It's sort of a catch crop. And then over here is our garlic. And we planted this in a line of manures as well because it's a very heavy feeder. And we just top dressed, but we'll get this all blended in. So the garlic, and yes, I probably should have gloves on or go get something else, but I'm an organic type person, so I'm going to just...
And when did you plant your bulbs?
Last year in the fall.
Okay.
Probably September.
Okay.
You want to let them ripen a bit and dry before you put the garlic back in.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the hard neck, and they do store well. So then you've got 1, 2, 3 nice big plump bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
You might look at that and say, oh, there's not much there. But look at the size of those bulbs. They're very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than enough for a meal
Right.
to do something. So those will get planted again, and they may go over here in the back. And see how the vole likes to have his nose
in garlic.
full of garlic. So here are potatoes, and they are baking potatoes. There's Katahdins here, and then there are red-skinned ones up at the beginning. And even as a master gardener, I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I didn't see any bugs. And I didn't see any bugs when I dug down. But when you grab one of these, you can see somebody with teeth has been nibbling.
Oh, right.
Now, I suppose it could be a big cutworm. I didn't find any. But look at that little potato. It's never going to get to be a baker.
It's never.
I'm just really upset with that. But that's what happens when you're gardening. You get disappointments and you've got thrilling moments.
Tell me about the brown paper.
Okay, the brown paper is here because we didn't have enough soil in here to hill up. And you do not want your potatoes to get sunlight because they'll start photosynthesizing and develop a poison. If you see green potatoes in the market, do not buy them because even peeling it off, that poison is still within the in the plant. And every time I go to a big market and I see them throwing the potatoes out underneath their lights, I say, you need to put burlap or something over them. You need to keep them dark. Well, then we can't sell them. I said, well, then don't put out so many because you do not want to have people with tummy upsets. And I don't know how many people might have tummy upsets because they've been eating green potatoes. So
important to learn.
It is an important thing to learn. So to sort what we think is a vole or voles, we put in this fellow. And this is a gopher getter. And it's supposed to make, and I've got the package over there. Thank you, Terry.
So we've abandoned the vintage thing for this.
I had to because I really want to be able to, supply the pantry with some nice fresh potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing better than a fresh potato.
Oh, that's true.
And we'll get that.
Okay, so tell me about the.
Okay, so
here we go.
This is the mole mover. And everybody who's come in to visit the garden has said, gee, I tried that, it didn't work. Well, obviously it's not working here either. So I may bring in a trap in tonight and see if I can trap it. But what I'm going to bait it with, I have no idea. Maybe I should
fresh potato.
I should save this and put it in the trap. I don't know. And I'll go online to UNH and ask them what's the best way to get rid of voles, aside from bringing my cat down here because she's a good hunter. So that is the short and quick, but I want to show you a couple of fun tools that you can make on your own. There are 2 ways of weeding. You can wait until the weeds get really big and yank them up, or you can get them when they're called white thread stage. And when you do that, you need a little delicate device. If you were to go to Garden Supply or any one of the places that sell expensive tools, you would find this for $50. Johnny sells it for $50-$60. What this is a paint roller. And I've tried to, flatten it a bit on the on a grinder, but you can come in here and you can
I like that.
underneath. Okay. That is so simple. But more importantly, with a little, did I save any other little ones? Terry's been too good about doing the weeding for me. Let's see. Oh, over here we've got some. So if you are trying to, you can probably
come over here.
Come over that side. You can see this is just come right in under here, and you can come in under here, and then it's easy to pick these up.
Right, because they're so small. And you can see
that little, this white thread, the little tiny root, little rootlet. In fact, you don't even have to if you can just get them scrambled up and let them dry out. And we've got a few over here too. It just works so nicely. If you get a big piece of grass, you can get down underneath.
Did you do anything special to attach that to the pole?
No, it's just it has a thread and this is a threaded.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was just like if you were doing your ceiling
Yeah.
with paint.
Okay.
You'd thread it and up and down. So
Have you ever tried it with the larger one, or?
the larger one has a cage, and that wouldn't
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
do anything
right.
for
The
you.
cage. That's for the
However-
mini roller. Okay.
However, a cage might work if you had lumpy soil and you just wanted to, keep the lumps down.
Right. Okay.
You might be able to do that.
I like these.
Yep.
Less bending over too.
Less bending over, exactly. And I found that you can buy children's size tools. I got these from my mom years and years ago. She still gardened when she was in her late 80s, early 90s. And they're smaller, very, very good. They work particularly well
I like
in a
that.
tight space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another handy trick. And then going to job lots to buy a $70 extendable. Really a neat little rake, and it also works pretty well
I do like
tightly.
that.
Yep.
And you got that at Job Lot?
Yep. In the spring, there wouldn't be any left now. I
Oh,
don't
right.
think. Although they might have now because people are raking leaves.
That's true.
And
Mhm.
I think that was a $15 rake 10 years ago.
Right.
So
It looks
what
vintage
else?
now.
Hmm?
It looks vintage now.
It is vintage. I mark everything because I go out with master gardeners to do cleaning in different public places, and you don't want to lose your things. So what else can we tell you?
Well, I think the thing to point out is it's not as though you're here producing and that's why the beds aren't filled and overflowed. It's a learning experience.
It is a learning experience, and I wanted, like with art, negative space is important.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can see more of what's going on here. If I had, this bed could easily do 6 or 8 tomatoes if I did them on the quote square foot type of gardening. But you'd have a problem with not enough air, and you might get some diseases, and you just wouldn't look as good.
Right. It looks very nice. It's nice
Yeah.
to see the dirt and
It's not soil. It's not
soil.
dirt.
Sorry.
Soil.
Soil. Oh, and then tell me about the raised beds. Just pine boards.
Just pine boards, and I just screwed them in with the deck screws, and then I used some corner brackets here just to help keep them going. Our original garden, which I did
Yeah,
2
that'd be
foot
great.
tall, because I was thinking about mobility impaired veterans at that time. And also my mom had designed a raised bed when she was a teenager for an uncle who had been in the First World War and came back handicapped. And he was getting very depressed because he was a farmer and he couldn't do anything to help support the family. So she and her cousin Paul went out behind the barn, took some old barn boards, knocked together some stuff, got the rotted manure, filled it up, and he was able to go out with his wheelchair and plant things and feel very much more part of the family. So that's why I did it. This whole area was done 2 foot tall and into the corners and then around the front. And then I had something coming down a 4 foot by 2 foot by 12 or 18 foot center bed. It produced really well, particularly the first couple of years because the soil was fresh and I was amending it. But it was almost overwhelming for one person to take care of. And also wasn't typical of what your Victory Garden would have been.
Right.
What happened with Victory Gardens, people took their lawns. Kensington Palace and the Emerald Necklace in Boston was just still the oldest Victory Garden running
Okay.
on the Fenway. It hasn't stopped. They just tilled up the soil. They overturned the soil. They did double digging, which was interesting, but I wouldn't do it again. Awful lot of work. And they planted on the flat. So after about 4 years, some rot was happening, and I said, okay, this is silly. I'll leave this because of the stone coming in here, the
ledge you
coming
mean.
in. And so that stayed as a barrier against bugs and beasts. And I took everything down, and I was gardening on the flat for about 4 or 5 years, well, 3 or 4 years. But that's a lot of doing this.
Right.
Or getting down on your hunkers. And yes, I can do this at 78 for a while, but getting up is a little harder.
Yeah.
So then I said, all right, we'll go back to the raised beds, but we'll do it a little tidier. And then I don't have to worry about weeding in between and paths and all that. So that's why I have got the 5 beds. You like to rotate. People will tell you tomatoes really love to be in the same place. And maybe the tomatoes do, but all their pests do too.
Okay.
So it's good to rotate, particularly with things, if you're going to grow corn. Corn is a very heavy feeder. So you want to move things and rotate. After corn, I would always put in a legume like beans or peas. So now I can rotate things. And we have, for the last 2 years, rotated. And having an arch like this is pretty, but it also gives you lots of air and space, and it keeps things within a grabbable distance. These pole beans will go 12 foot tall. And at home, I use a stepladder to get them,
Right.
because the best beans are always at the top. They are. So that's why we're doing it this way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you do anything special for the ground here?
Yes, I have Terry to help me, and she's a wonderful weeder.
Oh, you're the weeder.
And we scrabble it with a scuffle hoe, or with this, or just loosen it with a shovel and pick it up. But for the most part, we don't worry too much about it.
Right.
Because it's just the ground.
Right. It looks very tidy. And I see you have water here.
We do have water, and it was run from the standpipe over there through a conduit underneath all the ground and the pavement when they did the repaving 8 years ago. And I've been fixing the hose right along until I realized that this one more connection needs to be fixed. And we do have a compost heap out here. So we're composting out here.
Do you do anything special for the compost?
Nothing more than mixing the green and the brown.
Okay.
You don't want to have all green because you get a sludgy mess. It'll be anaerobic and just stink and won't be productive. So this is basically a trashy one. We're not trying to have a compost heap because we've got it in the bags.
Okay. So it's more just for your cuttings and your weeds
it's just for
debris.
for the weeds and things. So we don't waste it, and eventually we can get into that to have some soil.
Now you mentioned something about pests. You were going to...
Pests.
Well,
How
are you doing your pest control?
Well, the pest control is partially by changing beds.
Okay.
And then trying to do this, but we also use diatomaceous earth for the soft-bellied, like the bugs and things.
Okay.
But knock on wood, we haven't had any real pests so far. We've been good. There are some nibbles here, but I haven't picked up any potato beetles. I'd like to know what's going on the ground, but we'll figure it out.
When were the potatoes planted?
Oh, golly, that was early. That was probably, was it end of April? It must have been the end
Oh,
of
wow.
April.
Okay.
As soon as they were available. End of April, 1st of May.
So you have to start those early.
You do start them early because they like to be in the ground long enough to start doing their bulbing, their roots, because you're eating the roots, the little stolons there.
Okay.
And they like to have a more acid soil. So that's why I put some of this bark mulch over it. And when we pull everything out, I'll just incorporate the bark mulch in.
Okay.
And then this fall, we're going to do a soil test on this back bed. And then we'll mix the soils between these and send it off to UNH to get a soil test.
Okay.
A soil test is really a good indicator of what you need. So you don't put too much lime in, or if you're missing a trace element or something. We're on granite here, so I don't think we're going to be missing a lot of the trace elements. I think we'll be in pretty good shape. So organic, we need more organic material. Again, buying it in the bag by a reputable company who has composted it, and there are no weeds. I'm really happy with them.
Have you used it before? You used it here, this product?
Yeah, I've
okay.
used it at home a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good to know, because it's...
And I believe it's still a family business.
It's from Maine, isn't it?
It's from Maine.
Yeah.
And they've got a whole bunch of different blends. They've got ones that have got, does this one have this has got the crab and lobster meal.
Okay.
And it's got compost that they've made themselves, the kelp meal, and worm castings. And the mycorrhiza is really an important element. And I will use Pro Mix, which is a bale of sphagnum moss that's got the mycorrhiza bacteria inoculated into it. The mycorrhiza will work with the plant's roots. They will feed on the plant root sugars and then give the plants the nutrients from the soil,
Okay.
particularly the trace elements, particularly good for trees. In fact, if you look at some of the books on trees, you'll find that there's an aspen grove out in Colorado that is one plant, and it goes for something like 600 acres.
Wow.
And that's all interconnected, and the mycorrhiza talk among the plant roots. And if there's a bug on one side, the plants will talk to each other and start defensive measures, to prevent more damage.
That's great.
So what we have in the soil is probably more important than what we have above the soil.
Okay. And another benefit of the raised bed, because then you can just apply it right to the top.
Yes, you can. Yep. It is, the raised beds just retain water so much better than having it in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's more contained, so you don't have the evaporation as much. We don't mulch. Some people like to mulch with straw or the salt hay. I priced out salt hay, and it was $18 a bale, and the little bales
Wow.
are not any bigger than this. Plus, you have to go to Massachusetts to get it, and
Okay.
there's a tax there, and having to haul it home. And my husband's tired of me using the car for a truck, so we didn't do that this year.
So you just keep it weeded and moist, and
Yeah.
and you've had good luck with that.
We've had excellent luck with that. And it's really easy, and it's so much fun, and it's so much better for you to eat what you can raise yourself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Signage to read upon your visit. Terry and Chrissy working on that garden bed, harvesting the garlic and planting additional seeds to extend the season. The Victory Garden is up here in the back of the parking area. This is the museum entrance. Thanks very much for having us, Terry, the garden assistant helper,
Yes, she
weed
is.
puller extraordinaire, Chrissy, who's a master gardener, and Justin, who is the curator here. So tell us about the hours and whatnot, and the season.
Sure. So we're a seasonal museum. We're open May 1st through October 31st every year. We're open 10 to 4 Monday through Saturday, and Sundays from 12 to 4. And you can actually purchase tickets online if you'd like to, if you want to come by and see the museum, or you can purchase them right when you come in.
Well, one other thing, they do the Festival of Trees here. Is the museum open when they do the Festival of Trees, or is it just for that event?
It's mostly just for the event. We do have to clear out a pretty good portion of our military gallery to make room for all the trees. This past year they had about 100 trees, which was pretty amazing to see. But you can walk through the Homefront Gallery. That's still open during the festival, and we have a little display about Victory Gardening in there as well.
Okay, great. Yeah. Chrissy, any final thoughts on the Victory Garden? Inspiration, motivation?
Well, it's not too late to plant something like bok choy, which is only a 35-day plant, or you can plant the microgreens. You can do it in your own house. Get a tray, fill it with some of this good composted soil, sprinkle some seeds over it, lightly cover it, keep it moist, and you'll have a salad within a week.
That's
so
great.
I would say, everybody can grow anything.
Right.
And also, I'm a permaculture designer, and this is all done naturally with permaculture, which is basically working with nature, not against nature. Don't fight Mother Nature; you won't win.
That's right. Except for that vole, you're going to fight that Mother Nature.
We're going to outsmart the vole. I hope.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. I'll include links for the museum.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Great.